Hello, it's Friday. I'm Carolyn, and here we are. Thank you all for joining me. Excuse me. How y'all doing? Are you hot? I'm hot. Yeah, I asked Bo to nudge down there, but I have a feeling his nudge and my nudge are. Anyway, that's okay. But it is hot. Are y'all still, is everybody else as hot as we are? Honestly, during the summer, I don't even pay attention to the temps because I just know it's going to be hot. The only thing I look at is the NOAA, the whatever, Hurricane Center. I click on that like every couple of days on their website and refresh it to see if there are any expected hurricanes or tropical storm activity within the next 7 days. That's about all I worry about. Other than that, yeah, we're hot. That's all there is to it here in Florida. Hey, Ann, glad you're here. And Cindy, KS, is that Kansas, perhaps? Deborah Sue, Valera, hey, Katrin. All the Pate ladies are here. And let's see. Valera asked, are you doing Summerly Summer Sock Month Club? I am. I already signed up, even though I haven't been real good about knitting them. But I figure there's going to come a day when I have nothing but time on my hands and I'll just knit all the sock patterns. So, and it's such a good deal. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. But let's see. Tish is here. Hello. I know it's the first day of August. 74 degrees. Oh, Tish, I am jealous. Hey, Karen. Hello from Tulsa. Yes, Bobby, the walk along tee. It is indeed. I'm glad you're here. And let's see. All right. So yes, I am wearing, this was my very first walk along tee. It's a little big. It was a little big back when I knit it. So the second one that I knit a little smaller. I don't remember if it was a smaller size or what, but I remember doing something to make it a little smaller. So this one has plenty of ease in it. I used pickled peppers on the trim. I think this is Journey's End, right? That sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure this is Journey's End. And I used what is now Silky Sock is the blend. So it's nice and lightweight for summer. And I didn't wear one of my more recent finishes because we're going to a festival next weekend and I didn't want to get all stinky and sweaty. Any of them, because I need to take them as current samples. So I was like, let me pull out one of my older knits. So yeah, so this is it. So I have lots to catch y'all up on. First of all, thank you all so much for your thoughts and prayers for my mom. She is out of the hospital and just got out, and I asked her how she was doing. She said still, short of breath, but no pain, which is good. She has congestive heart failure, which I don't know. I looked up, is it genetic? Because I know my grandpa had it and I have multiple uncles who've had issues with that. And apparently there can be a genetic component. I would say in this case, there must be because it runs rampant in my family. But my mom is out of the hospital. She's glad to be out and back home and staying with my brother and sister-in-law who take good care of her. So yeah, she always goes up to Ohio for the summers. And so that's where she is. Hey, Kim, glad to hear. Okay, Cindy, I think, did you maybe change your name? Because I thought that was you. And then I was like, I don't know. I wonder if it's someone else. But I should have known. Cindy, Kansas. That's our Cindy. Hi, Sue. And Karen is here from Karen Sobel. She's our Northern Karen. We have a couple of Karens. And then, yes, Valera, paying homage to Mr. Sandberg today. That was thanks to Bo, obviously. And then Deb, hello. Thank you, Tish. I really appreciate that. That's very kind. Yeah. And then I wanted to show y'all, I brought, let's see. Yeah. So this is the book that I'm currently reading. Here it is. I thought y'all might want to see. And it's The Phantom of the Opera, which, at first I was like, I started reading it about a month ago. No, more than that. It's been months ago. And I read it because Morgan got it and wanted to read it. She likes to read the classics and older books. And I was thinking, how come I never, in all my years of school, I mean, there's plenty of books that I didn't get to, but I realized, I think the reason why is that this wasn't really I don't know that it was considered a classic until the musical made it popular. And I looked it up and I think that was released in the 80s. So, and apparently there was a movie released way back in like 1925, a silent film, I think it was, which brought some attention to the book. And then, of course, the musical, which is probably what most people have seen. And I don't know what it is about this book. I'm getting close to the end. I'm almost there and I want to know what happens, but it's almost like I have to force myself to read it. I don't know what that's about. I'll be honest. Cause I started it months ago, kept setting it aside for other books. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just that there are other books that I would rather read. I don't know. The narrator, I like that part. So there's, in the book, it's like you have a narrator who talks and then you actually have action and speaking parts and all that stuff. And what I find interesting is that it's the speaking parts and stuff that are almost not as interesting to me. It's more and maybe it's because it's talking about things from way back when. And so maybe I just don't understand as much what's happening. That could be it. And then when the narrator is speaking, he's explaining things and I'm like, oh, so that's what that was, or that's what was happening. So maybe that's it. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, I recommend it. It's not a bad book, obviously. It made a great musical that I've never seen. But anyway, that's what I'm reading. I think after that, I'm going to go back to my Inspector Gamache series because I only have like four books left there. So yeah, I need to get back to that. So, oh, I see. Okay, very good, Cindy. Well, either way, I'm glad you're here. All right, and then, so last weekend, I wanted to show y'all, I was the recipient of a few gifts. Last weekend, Bo and I were at She Sells Yarn in Ormond Beach for a trunk show, and then I taught 3 sessions, three different classes or whatever. So I was tied up for a lot of the day and didn't get to talk to people as much unless they were in the class. And so Bo got to visit with more people than I did, but I did get to see people for a little bit. So, and one of the people who came to my classes, Darla, I love Darla, and she was so sweet. She apparently a while ago made some of these Notions pouches, which I have unzipped because I want to show you all the goodies, or some of them because there's so many. But she made a bunch of these for her knitting friends. And so she was so sweet to make me one. And she remembered that I love red. How awesome is this beautiful little pouch? Or big, I should say. Look at it. It opens up accordion style. And it's got all these zippered pouches and then even room in between them. So not only is it a Notions pouch, but she gave me a bunch of Notions. Barber cord, always use those. Little, what are these called? The little end keepers of your yarn. Love that. And then there's a row counter. Ooh, that's a good one too. Yeah. And then I think this is some stitch holders. I saw there was a cute little tape measure that Morgan already stole from me because she doesn't have one. Look at that. Scissors. You know I can never have too many scissors. And then there's a cute little bag in here that oh, that's what it was. It was because she did the cruise from She Sells Yarn last time. Let's get naughty. I love it. And then there's another measuring, whatever. What are they measuring? No, it's not a measuring stick, but ruler, whatever. And then look at this. Oh, it's mandarin orange hand cream. Yeah, that's good stuff. I bet that smells good. Let's see. Oh, it's sealed. I haven't even opened it. I was waiting to show y'all. Okay, well, now I can open it, so I will. Thank you, Darla. She's so sweet. Anyway, so I love it. And then another thing that I totally forgot to show y'all when Morgan came back from Guatemala, she brought me this crocheted flower. And apparently one of the moms at the school that she worked at, one of the schools she worked at, crochets these up and then they sell them for donation. So how cute is that? I love it. And she got me red, my favorite color. So that was awesome. And then when I finally went to the mailbox yesterday, if you know me, you know I don't go to the mailbox very often. But when I did go, I found this beauty from Tish and her son, Robert, and his husband, Mark. I think she said they spotted it at the Renaissance Fair. Yeah, a Renaissance Festival. It was the only one at a shop called the Wooden Unicorn. So said I can hang it on my tree. I might just hang it here in my office because it's so pretty. I love it so much. So thank you, Tish. I appreciate that. And Mark and Robert as well. All right. What else is that? I think that was all the gifts that I got. So let's see. Where am I at? I'm trying not to keep my list up here. By the way, y'all, look at my list for this week. It's a long list. Fortunately, it won't take me long, but it's like the more that I know I need to go over, the more notes I have to make because I know I'll just forget something. So anyway, we have a giveaway today. Do y'all know that? I have to tell you, I have loved seeing all of the holiday socks that y'all have posted. And this morning I went through and picked a winner, which the winner will be receiving these two skeins on, this is a Stellina single ply base that I don't carry in the shop regularly. But this is an old Christmas colorway called Office Party. And then this one is Nose So Bright. So the winner is dun, 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 Jane Ford. And I want to say it was her socks that she knit with, what's it called? Christmas Tree Farm. Yeah, it's a mostly green colorway. So congratulations, Jane. I'll be sending those out to you in the mail. All right. And thank you all for posting your stuff. So by the way, so speaking of August, I have done the post for, or speaking of the fiber challenge, I've done the post for the August fiber challenge. And I haven't picked the prize for that yet. I said I was going to start picking the prize right away. And as usual, I haven't. But I might do a skein or two of the Fluffy DK because since it's about texture, you know, I feel like Fluffy DK has some really interesting texture just all by itself in the yarn. So maybe it'll be a skein or two of that. So we'll see. I'll pick it out in the next week or so. In fact, I wanted to show y'all, I meant to post this, but I just haven't had a chance to yet. So this is what I'm going to work on at some point. I keep running behind schedule, but it's called the Brioche Fade Coaster and Trivet. So I'm not going to do the fading, I don't think. I'm just going to, you know, because brioche is still very new to me. So, but I wanted something small. And so my intention is to work on that. I do have one of my projects in my whips right now actually would qualify as well, but I'll show that to you in a little bit. So what else? What else? So I posted that. All right. I think that's it. So we can actually start talking about whips and FOs. Y'all, there were so many this week. Ah, I love them so much. So let me find them here. I was in awe. Okay, so we're going to start with this one right here. So Angie posted this, and this is a Summer Lee pattern that she started called, oh, hang on, let me check because I wrote it down, Trompe le Monde. And so she posted this picture first, and then Dun, 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 she's already got a sock finished. So that red that you see there is Fun in the Sun. That was the July monthly mini color club colorway. So, and I love how Angie puts these to use like right away. I love it so much. And then Bobby posted, we did one of the classes that I did a couple weeks ago was a sock blank dye experience down at Knit and Stitch. And so Bobby was kind enough to post the socks that she did last year. She dyed up this sock blank on the left, excuse me, and then she knit up these shorties. How cool are those? I love it. So thank you, Billy, for, did I say, I might have said Bobby. I meant to say Billy. I'm sorry, Billy, if I did. That is Billy's. Bobby did come this time and dye up a sock blank, though. And then Jane Ford, speaking of Jane Ford, she Sells Yarn brought in this shawl, which I messaged her because I'm pretty sure I was so enamored with the shawl that I forgot to ask her the name of the pattern. So I don't know the name of the pattern. I messaged her, but she hasn't seen it yet. I do know that she used, these were some Dying to Knit colorways. There was Invisible and then Thrush Cross Grange and Thornfield Hall, because that whole series was based on the Bronte sisters. So it was beautiful. It was such a gorgeous shawl. So anyway, so thank you, Jane, for that. Henrietta posted this on Instagram. She's using Duke of Hastings, and she said that the name is Berkeley, but she was telling me at the yarn shop that apparently it was a free pattern. It was part of a promotional thing, and that now you can't actually, like, the pattern's not on Ravelry, which is weird. But anyway, that is what she's knitting with it, which it's looking very good already. Okay, Katrin, who is a self-proclaimed not a sock knitter, took the Interstellar Shorties pattern and switched it up a little bit and did slip stitches instead of the alternating color work pattern there, which I think it looks great. It looks very much like the socks to begin with. And let's see, she's used Holly Jolly is the contrast color. And what does the fox say is the main color there on the cuff? Yeah, on the cuff and the heel and the toes. Okay. And then Linda, who has been very, very busy setting up a whole different life in Tennessee, complete with chickens and all. But she did manage to finish up these socks. And it's a vanilla sock pattern using the shadow wrap heel and the one-of-a-kind colorway, Ho, 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 which I love. That's such a great colorway. Oh, gorgeous. All right. And then Billy also posted these. The name of the pattern is Feeling Loopy. And she's using Blackberry Wine is there on the toe, and then Fiber Friends is in there with it. And I love that color combination. So good. Very nice. All right. And then Michelle was kind enough to post some sock pictures that she did under the mistletoe and velveteen. I love those myself. I'm going to have to swipe that picture and probably use it as a sample of what that colorway knits up. And she also did, check this out, Rudolph's Rainbow. There's still some of that in the shop as well, if you're interested in that. I suspect that Michelle cranked these. She's a well-known sock cranker and does an amazing job. All right. Jill made these socks, I think she said for her nephew for Christmas, using the Fat Tuesday colorway. I love it. And it's funny because if you look at that pattern, the color pooling there, it looks exactly like the samples that I used in my class last week. And we were talking about working with hand-dyed yarns. I love it. And then Anne let's see, this is the beginning of the Hiss and Vinegar mystery knit along. She's using everything from Burnt Butter, Tickle My Fancy, Till We Meet Again, and Pantone's Peach. I love it. I love that burnt butter contrast in there against, I think that's Tickle My Fancy in the background. I love it very, very much. And then this one, Barbara was kind enough to post these. This is the Aunt March colorway. It looks so good. And she said they're vanilla socks. I love it. Thank you, Barbara, for posting those. These are all awesome. I'm thinking I might have to do a reel on social media showing all the whips and FOs this week because they're so very cool. I love it. All right. So speaking of, and we mentioned Summer Lee. So Valera, did you say you're doing it? I can't remember. So I thought I printed it. Maybe I left it in the printer. I don't know. I might have left it in the printer. I think I did because I printed the basic sock pattern. So basically what happens if you sign up for Summer Lee's Cuff Club, right? She's on Cuff Club 2, but I think you can still get Cuff Club 1, I'm guessing. But what it is, if you sign up like Cuff Club 2, she gives you, when you sign up, you get a basic sock pattern. And then every month for the next year, you get a pattern for your cuff or somewhere in the leg. And I think obviously some of them are on the foot as well. So like she gives you different patterns to use within that basic sock pattern, if that makes sense. And I was looking at August already. The cuff is awesome. And then she gave an alternate pattern. So one pattern has some very simple, I think she said 2-stitch cabling, but I noticed that the alternate pattern was a color work flower pattern. So it was almost like if you're somebody who really doesn't like cables. Although that one looked really good, like I would be tempted to do that. Then you might like the color work. So I remember that from last year. She did that a lot where there were two, almost like two options that you would do. And it's totally, I think worth it. It was, I want to say was it $13.99 or $14.99 for an entire year. So that's just over $1 for each month's pattern. And if you did last year's Cuff Club, she sent a little coupon code for $1 off. So it was even cheaper. So, and she has amazing sock patterns, as we all know. So, oh, thank you, Deb. You're so good. Jane's pattern is the Maytham shawl. Oh, Bo's calling me out. It's not in the printer. Maybe I didn't print it. Maybe I intended to print it and I didn't. I've been printing so many things. So let me write that down because I want to put it in the show notes. The Maytham shawl. Thank you, Deb. You're so good. All right. So I will put that in the show notes. Okay. And then I wanted to tell y'all, someone this week placed a special order for some yarn for the Ooey Gooey pattern. I don't have that one either. Y'all know which one I'm talking about. That's the Rhinebeck sweater by Andrea Mowry, which is really cute, especially seeing some of the color combinations out there. It does call for sport weight, which is not a big seller for me, so I don't spend a lot of time keeping it stocked. However, I do have sport weight, a very nice. It's a, let me see here. Let me just grab one real quick, because I don't want to tell you anything wrong. And I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but what I love about it is it has a beautiful, I want to make sure the camera is focusing on it. It has a beautiful high twist to it, which is always good for stitch definition. It'll really show off the stitches in a pattern. But it's an 80-20. I was thinking maybe it was 75-25. No, it's an 80-20 merino nylon 3-ply. But it is, and it's a really nice, it's a nice yarn. So if you need something like that, just let me know, because I don't have a ton of that in the shop, but I'm definitely happy to dye some up for you. So, all right, then what am I working on? I got to tell you, this was one of those weeks where it was almost like I have too many projects now. I think I've told you all this before. When I get too many projects going on, it's like it becomes overwhelming to me. So every night, and I was busy this week with getting a wholesale order out the door. I pushed it because they needed it for a special yarn crawl thing, or that was my understanding. And anyway, so my yarn was going to be featured, and I was like, oh, got to get the yarn out. So I was working overtime trying to get this yarn done. So I didn't have a ton of knitting time anyway. And then every night when I sat down, I was like, okay, which project am I going to knit on? And I don't know, paralysis. I just ended up doing a little bit on each one of my projects, which means I didn't get a lot done. And for me, that's not really good. Like mentally, I mean, it's not going to put me over the edge, obviously, but like I'm someone who likes to see some substantial progress. And I just don't have that. But that's okay. So this is I showed y'all these last week. I had started them, the Striped Step Socks by Stephen West, and I'm loving it. Oh, I can't wait until these are done. These are going to be good Christmas socks. So it's got obviously velveteen at the top, and then I'm using Executive Producer as my main color, and Under the Mistletoe is my coordinating color. I just wasn't sure. I told you all this. I wasn't sure I'd have enough Under the Mistletoe, which is why I'm offsetting it with velveteen, because I just have a mini of Under the Mistletoe. And I'm not sure. I think these are, they have a little bit of a leg pattern, size to them. But, my leg is normally I like a long legged sock. But I probably won't do that on this one because, as y'all know, this is the one where you're only knitting, you knit the front half and then you knit the back half, and as you knit the back half, you're joining it to the front, and then you have to do the heel in there. And so it's a little, for me, mentally, it's a little, I probably won't make that a super long sock. We'll see. Let's see. And I'm still plugging away on Bo's socks. The Interstellar, y'all know this pattern calls for shorties, but Bo wanted them to be long. And I don't know, it's interesting to me how my color dominance up here when I first started, I wonder if it had something to do with my tension. And maybe it's evened out more because I think it looks a lot better down here, visually speaking. Not that it matters, it's still cool, but it's interesting to me how the pomp and circumstance up at the top really, it's like it was fighting for dominance there. And then, of course, that main color up there is confetti. So I'm hoping to get the first sock done very soon. And then at the bottom of that bag, I want to show y'all. This is the other project. I haven't shown this. I don't know if I've shown this one. If I have, it was a long time ago. This is with some yarn that I picked up at Knitcessities at one of my mini trunk shows. I'm doing, is this called linen stitch, maybe, I think? And this is it's a linen yarn. Linen stitch with linen yarn. It's by Quince is the name of the company, and it's 100% linen. And I will say this, it's very slippery on the needles. Like I have to hang on to it, but I really I'm knitting, down and back with one color and then switching and down and back with the other color, which is giving it that beautiful look to it. So this is going to be a drying mat actually. And it was going to be for me or us here at the house, but then Connor moved, and I said I would knit him one. And then I was like, oh, well, I started this one. I said, if you like the colors, then you can have this one if I ever get it done. And he said, yeah, I like those colors. So I need to get busy on that. It's pretty mindless once you get going, and it's easy to remember. It's just like, as I was telling Morgan, you're constantly flicking the yarn from the back to the front, back to the front, back to the front, back to the front. Yeah. Which some people, ugh, but I don't mind it. Of course, I say that. I must not find it too fascinating or fabulous because I haven't gotten very far. But I think it's because I have so many projects. Okay. And then last is my Stockholm slipover V-neck. And I haven't made a ton of progress from last week. I am starting the increases. I did just start increases. So yeah, I have no idea where I'm at in the pattern except that. I don't know where I'll be going from here. I'm just blindly following it at this point. So, and I have to say this yarn, which I already knew this because I have my uh, broom top in this yarn that I basically made into a summer shirt rather than a winter sweater. But and it's super comfortable in this yarn. So I know I'm gonna love that for sure. Oh, thank you, Deb. Karen says your DK can be used as sport. Well, that's good to know. I like it. All right. So there you go. You can shop in the DK section. All right, Tish, first Interstellar Shorty done. Have started in Frog the second one 3 times. Well, that stinks. I wonder what's up with that. Especially since you got the first one done, right? All right. What is new? Okay. There's a lot in the shop. So I'm just going to quickly go through it. Basically, what happened is that, as you might know, next week, Bo and I will be going to Charlotte, North Carolina for the Southern Comforts Fiber Market. And because of that, you know, when that happens, you try to get everything dyed up and everything in the shop to take it with you. So I have a lot of things that some one-of-a-kinds. Actually, I think there's a one-of-a-kind that's not in there yet because it's still out in the dye studio. I haven't finished it yet. But yeah, and then just some other things I was working on. So let's go through it, shall we? So first of all, this is, I think I've mentioned this before. Valera and I have talked about it. This is, if you're an FSU, and you don't even have to be an FSU fan. I think it's a great fall colorway too. It's got garnet and gold in it. And let me just tell you, this was a project that I've been working on months, literally, not all the time, in and around other projects, but this garnet color was brutal. And the gold too, because I have a lot of yellows that are too yellow, and then some that would work, but they tend to break even in a liquid concentrate. And I was like, I don't want that. And I don't want that messing up my colorway. I need a true gold color that is the gold of the FSU. So there it is. There's the gold mini that goes with the skein. So I only did these on Trusty Sock and Trusty DK because I picture these as socks. I do in the newsletter and even on the website in the listing, there's a picture of the skeins undone so that you can see how the color repeats are. I think they'll look great in socks. That's what I intend to make out of them for my stepdaughter, Kayla. She's an FSU alum. So I want to make her a pair of socks and give them to her at Thanksgiving. It'll be an early Christmas present. So, which means I need to get on it because you all know how I am about my gift knitting. It seems to just come up on me all at once and like, oh, and then I'm pressured to get something done. So I did garnet and gold minis, and I have some Dance of the Sugar Plum. Like I was just looking, this Trusty Sport that I was showing y'all. It's very similar. In fact, it was, that's it there. It's similar, but it's not quite the garnet. And I forget what colorway. We were at a shop and a lady said, oh, that's a good garnet. And I said, oh, actually, I've been working on a garnet and gold colorway. So it's funny how you can look at certain reds and think, oh, that's a garnet. That's it there. But it's not quite. So I tried really hard to be true to the colors. So I'm pleased with the end result. So there you go. I may have spent too much time on that. I don't know, but it was good. I like being challenged and I like I've been looking for a nice gold colorway for a long time. And I think that's it. So, and one of a kinds that came out of that, this is the Tipsy Fig. It's somewhat similar to the Gilded Grape. This is an example of a gold in here that I was using that really broke apart. And so it just didn't keep the, sorry, my face is making things blurry, but it just didn't keep that gold look to it that I wanted. So yeah. So anyway, so that's the Tipsy Fig. That's only available on minis. And then, okay, what else? So another thing that I have done, Pomp and Circumstance, I put, this is it on Sparkly DK, but it's also available on Sparkly Sock. Y'all, this is probably the most beautiful color on the sparkle bases that I have seen yet. Like it's picking up the Stellina pretty good there, but it's just amazing. It literally looks like snow, glistening snow, I have to say. So I really am loving it there. So I put it on those, and for me, I definitely will be wanting to use them in some Halloween socks, because I'm going to knit some Halloween socks too. I think I showed them. They're in my Charlotte Stone sock book, which is out on the bookcase now. But yeah, with the bats, the orange bats. So I haven't dyed up the orange yarn yet, but I already have the colorway. I know what I'm going to dye up, and they're going to be, I'm going to knit them on the sparkly sock base. Okay. Then I also put Pomp and Circumstance on Fluffy DK. It came out a little bit lighter than I think it should, but I've noticed that about Fluffy DK. There are some dye recipes that I almost have to increase. I don't know, even though it's the same weight in yarn, it's almost like all of this extra fluff. I don't know, some of the color, and it, you know, speaking from a dyeing standpoint, it's kind of odd because all the dye will exhaust, and yet it just seems odd that you have the same weight, but it's not, it doesn't come out near as dark as it does on other bases. So, but again, that's not really anything new. It almost comes across more like a charcoal, honestly. So I think the next time I dye this, I'm going to dye it at a heavier concentrate, just a little bit, and get it darker. So, but this is still good. And speaking of Fluffy DK, okay, y'all, I don't know how this happened, but I never dyed Under the Mistletoe and Velveteen on Silky Sock. It just seems odd to me. Anyway, before we get to that, so here is Velveteen on Fluffy DK. It's showing lighter on my monitor than it is. This is just as beautiful. I did increase the dye concentrate on this one because I was like, that sucker's coming out dark. As it should. And it did, baby. Hubba, hubba. I already know. Oh, I meant to show you. I'll later. For Nani Swimo, I think I already have the pattern. I'm not sure yet. I'm thinking maybe the Harlow pattern by Kadri. And there is a cashmere sweater that Penny from Big Bang Theory wears on one of their Christmas episodes. And the body is black. And then on the sleeves, it has these red and black color chunks. And I'm like, oh, I need that. So I think I'm going to knit me something like that, except I think the body will be red. And then the sleeves will have the red and black. I'm thinking, and I might even be using this yarn, Fluffy DK, with a darker Pomp and Circumstance. You like how I'm planning my next 6 months of projects. Anyway, Nani Swimo is, we got some months to be thinking about that. But anyway, and then, yes, back to this. When I was updating, refilling the shop with colorways to take with us to the Southern Comforts Fiber Market, I realized I never dyed up Velveteen and Under the Mistletoe on Silky Sock. Oh my goodness. So there they are. They're in the shop now. And yeah, and so, and I don't, there may have been other bases of some of the colorways, but none of them, you know, that were new, but none of them stood out as much as that one. So anyway, but over the next, let's see, Monday and Tuesday, I'll still be dyeing and putting, you know, restocking colorways. And then after that on, well, Wednesday, I'll still be shipping. So if you're interested in something, then, you know, keep an eye in the shop And then after Wednesday, shipping will be on hold from Thursday through Sunday. So, and then the shop will be closed on Friday and Saturday because we'll be at the market. So you can order, outside of that, but it just won't be shipped while we're gone. Okay, there was one skein of this. This is Happy and Free, based on Happy Days. And so this was a blue skein on, Swanky sock that is in the shop. That's the only one. All right. And then there's a new gradient color cake that, I renamed it. I had a previous name and then I renamed it. So I have to double check what I named it. Okay. Smoke and Saffron. And it starts with this aubergine silvery color. It's kind of a mix. It's almost like you can't tell what color it is. And then it goes into this deep autumnal red and then a golden orange yellow color in there. It's beautiful. And I thought that it looked very much like fall. So that one is available on, it's limited. I'm not going to dye anymore right now, but I had dyed them up, back when I had started doing the gradient color cakes. And I was like, oh, that one looks so fall. I don't think I want to release it yet. So I just waited. And then I'm like, oh, well, we have a festival coming up, so I'm going to release it now. So it's in the shop. Okay. Then a couple weeks ago, y'all remember I did a sock blank dye experience, and as a result, there were 2 sock blanks left over that had been, soaked and ready to go. I always take an extra just in case something happens, or 2. And so these 2 were left over. So I literally just took the leftover dye concentrates and used them. I'm not going to unravel them and show them. The pictures are in the newsletter and they're also on the website. And then if you order them, I will put in the sheet that tells you about how to handle them and knit with them. They're fun. These are double knit. So if you are a 2 at a time sock knitter, it's awesome for that because you can literally knit with both strands right off the blank. Or if not, then you do need to manage your strands. You either have to wind them both first, or you can be knitting or crocheting with one strand and then winding the other as you go. However you want to do that. But if you're a sock blank person, these are for you. And there's only one of each there of those because I was just using them up and using up the leftover dye concentrates. All right, Deb, I have some supposedly glow-in-the-dark green on my bobbins from last Halloween. Oh, that would be, I like it. You said they would go good together. I'm curious, I might have missed which colorway you were talking about. The black, maybe? I don't know. But I think that would look good. All right, what else? Oh, I didn't bring them. There are some new BFL braids in the shop. I'm not going to get up and get them, but they are there. I think there's a new red strawberry shortcake. There's another green juicy pear. And oh, there's a gorgeous, that same silvery purple color. I have a braid that it's a lot of that in it too, called Sandman. That one might have to stay with me. I don't know. When I get back to spinning some more, because it's a good one. But those will be going with me to where am I going? Southern Comforts. Fiber Market next weekend. All right. Yeah. So that came upon us quick. So that's where I will be next weekend. So Friday and Saturday, which means because the market is open on Friday and Saturday, there will not be a live podcast at 1 o'clock next Friday. But I'll be back the week after that, and I will do a video at some point. And, I like to do a little video from the booth or the festival or something. And so I'll do that and post it on YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed, you might want to subscribe so that you can get notice of that. And then, oh, Deb, the glittery black. Yeah, that would, oh, yeah. All right. I think, is that it? And then two very short, oh, and by the way, the Southern Comforts, apparently, according to the organizers, there's been a lot of interest this year from the looks of things. So, and people are signing up for the classes. That's both of that and the Pittsburgh Creative Arts Festival later in the month have crazy good classes. Like, I'm tempted to leave Bo at the booth and sign up for some of these classes. I would feel bad doing that. I don't mind leaving Bo in charge of the booth if I'm teaching a class, but I don't quite feel right to take a class. Besides, I might miss somebody who comes by the booth and I want to chat with them. So, but there are lots of good classes. So if you're thinking about going, definitely check them out. And then I did get, I don't think I've told y'all yet, I was accepted to Scenic Stitches. That one is in Chattanooga. That is at the end of February. Yeah, it's at the very end of February, like February 28th and March 1st. So Chattanooga, Tennessee, which I think is Southeast Tennessee. But so keep that in your pocket, you know, if you think that you might be available to come see me. All right. I think they're all, every festival or whatever so far that I'll be at is updated on the website if you go to the website and scroll down. So I think that's it. I've probably forgotten something. I don't know. If I did, I'll post it. But I don't see anything sitting here that I haven't talked about. So listen, I hope y'all have a great weekend. It sounds like some of you are already cooling off the tiniest bit. I just will say that I'm very jealous, but at least I'm heading north in a little bit myself, and maybe I'll have some cooler weather as well. All right, y'all take care of yourselves, and hey, have a great weekend. All right, I will see you 2 weeks from today right here. All right, bye everybody.